Good morning. Good morning. This is Sandy Winborn checking on to just see if today is going to be a good day. It's a good day if you're living, it's a good day if you're just in the presence of life. You're here. You're here. And I'm going to ask you a question. Are you stuck? Yes, all of us are stuck right now. Every single one of us. We're all stuck. We're stuck in being quarantined, not knowing that if we go outside that we're properly prepared to fight off this insidious disease of the coronavirus or the COVID-19. But anyway, if you have to go out, make sure that you do have your protection, your cover, homemade. If you don't know of anybody that makes them, there are some people in town here in Pensacola that are making them. So I certainly recommend that you get a face mask or make a homemade one. I think the surgeon, the U.S. Surgeon General is basically putting that in place right now for people to do just that. But today we want to talk about the Are You Stuck? And basically, I'm going to start off by saying, first of all, get up every day with a plan. And the plan is that you get up, you get your shower, you do all the things that you're supposed to do. You have some breakfast, maybe some coffee, and get dressed. So many of us, because we're home, we have pajamas on all day long, 24/7. That's okay every once in a while. But in order for us to make us feel like we're a part of what's going on in this life, then we need to be up as if we're going to work or we're going to play or we're going to, have coffee with a friend or to a meeting. So anyway, I certainly suggest that you go ahead and do that. But anyway, in terms of launching opportunities in transition, which is the program I designed originally for ex-offenders, it's really a wonderful program. Not just that I did it, but just that God gave it to me. It was given. I don't know how I ended up with it, but I woke up and it was like there. It was just wonderful. And it really talks about how can I make something, that was in my past be continually in my past and not in my future. And originally I did it for ex-offenders. And, a lot of times people are always judged by what they used to do. And people don't give them a chance to let them do something else that people can acknowledge them for, which is it overshadows what they did in their past. So I certainly recommend by all purposes that we look at this and we look at this as a possibility for ourselves. I have done it. In fact, today we're going to start with the first area of discussion that I used to do with my students. And it talks about, the whole concept of understanding that your past is your past. And the first one says, don't worry about going forward, but acknowledge that you have made some changes from what you used to do. And the reason I find that to be so important is that you can't change what we've done. You've been places, you've done things, all those kinds of things. You can't do anything about that. So what I'm going to do is try to tell you how to handle it. That's what we're going to try to discuss today. So in our changing, we're going to first start to look at it. And if you have a piece of paper and a pen, go ahead and grab it. Certainly, I think you will be able to use this information, which is really good. But anyway, it talks about be aware. Be aware, of what you've done. You're not going to make it your mantra to stand on, but you're going to make it, almost like something that you are getting away from. You used to do it. You used to do it and you found what it did to you. And sometimes we learn more from what we've done than we worry about what we're going to do. But it should be the other way around. Worry about what you're going to do. Don't worry about what you've already done and it's already behind you. So the first thing it talks about, be aware, be conscious. What did I do? Take assessment. What did you What did you do in your past? And what I'm going to tell you today is don't make it where anybody else can see this. This is your stuff. This is not to be shared with anyone, because I always remember, and when I was growing up in New York, there was a man at our church, and he said, "Well, you know what? I hear what the pastors say, but some things I can't ever tell the pastor or anybody else. When I leave here, it will go with me." I want you to have that kind of attitude. Take it with you. Do not leave it for other people to find fault or ridicule or whatever might come about in that. Just leave it alone. Just allow yourself to live based on, I'm going to do my own assessment. So the assessment should include the kind of things it says, if you've lied a long time about what it is you did, eventually the lie becomes the real. So what I'm trying to do is say, get rid of that real and move on. Move on. Don't continue to tell the lie. Don't continue to make it real to yourself. Acknowledge that I used to. I used to. Don't do that anymore. Drill down in your mind, or you can do it in a diary. You can do it on your phone in an archive section, whatever you want to do. But what I want you to do after that is burn it up. Delete it. Don't make it where it's a part of anything that can be left around. Leave it. It just doesn't have any purpose. It's only for you. It's your purpose. It's no one else's purpose. And then, but also I want you to acknowledge how much fun you had. A lot of times, let's face it, when we were doing wrong, wrong felt good, you know. And I know, I wasn't ever a big cusser, but I grew up in a family where my mother could lay it down, and she made it so funny that we always forgot what the real message was because the cursing was so good. And sometimes I would interrupt her and say, "Mom, those words don't go together." She says, "Shut up, I wasn't talking directly to you, but now that you in it." So you sometimes have to realize that we had a lot of fun. We enjoyed what we did. It was more than we wanted to stop. We didn't want to stop. We wanted to continue to do what we were doing. And the upshot of that is that sometimes it made us do it longer. We remained in that area of fun. We remained in that area of, some people may call it sin. Some people may just call it off track. You're not targeted correctly. You're just doing some things that you enjoy. You enjoy doing. And let's face it, those were good times. Those were good times. But I also think that once you've had a good time, there's also a level that comes with age and it comes with experience, is that you eventually find that what made you laugh and really get excited about earlier in your time of fun isn't fun. It doesn't remain to be fun. It eventually says that I need to make a change. And when you make that change, you just acknowledge that there was fun in it. But you can make fun going forward too, because you can also laugh at some of the things that you did along the way. And if you have a piece of paper and pen, do you a chart, and do the chart such as, 2 columns. The first column, make it for what you did. The second column, you acknowledge, what happened during that time. What made it happy for you? What made it fun? What made it interesting? What kept you in it? I've never been a person who did drugs, but I've had some friends who tell me, "Hey, look, some of that stuff is really good." It wasn't for me, so I never tried it. However, I grew up in a family where my brothers would be what we call weekend drunks. They worked all during the week, but come Saturday and Sunday, they were drunk. And my mother had a system with them. She would always tell them that she was broke. And by her being broke, they would actually give her money. And she said, "Oh, put some money in my palm. I don't have no money." So they would give it to her while they were drunk. And ultimately, after she finished getting the money, she would put it aside, and come Monday morning, she'd give it back to him. So, but I know what it is to be around people where that is their fun, that is their, they're looking back, but eventually they all stopped drinking, and eventually, so there was a level of maturity. There's a level that comes over us where we say, I put away that stuff. I don't do it anymore. I stopped doing that. I found other things that gave me equal pleasure, but less consequences in terms of, breaking down who I am or who the family is or who my friends are or who I love. So it just changes the way you go forward. So anyway, make your columns and have it where you have what you did, how it made you feel, and then at the bottom of the sheet, I want you to actually write. So how long did it take you to get out of that? Was it years? Was it a month? And are you still in it? You know, and for some of you who may be just checking in, my background is in counseling, and I think when I did it, I was probably pretty good, and that I always tried to help you do something for yourself. I didn't have the answers. I didn't have the questions. I just had a way for you to question yourself and then give your own answers. But I would certainly set the stage. I would certainly try to give you what you needed to know about how to figure out who you are and how you got from where you are then where you were then to where you're going, how you go forward. And the last thing I want you to do, and this is a short one today because I just trying to build up some followers, is get rid of it. Once you've acknowledged what you did, who you did it with, why you did it, what you did it for, um, get rid of it. But the other thing is, if you're still in it, then continue to work through it. What can I do? How can I go about it? And if you stay with this 5 session, it's actually 6 session little, and so I should be done with this on Monday, the Don't Look Back section of Are You Stuck? It just basically says by next week you can write some things down, you can really deal with them. And a lot of times we run so much we don't get a chance to really um, pay attention to us. We pay attention to other people, but we don't always pay attention to who we are. So what I'm saying is that would be the exciting thing, is figuring out who you are during this time of quarantine, the downtime. How can I decide that I want more? How can I decide that I want to change a career, or I want to get out of this bad relationship, or I want to study for an exam, or I want to just be real with somebody and tell them who I really am versus who they think I am. Because a lot of times we stay in friendships, love ships, and you can't get rid of family unless you move away, and sometimes they'll come visit and stay. But anyway, just looking at what can I change? What can I change in my life that's going to help me? And that's what you can do if you're still in those things. And I want you to write your comments, right? Write some comments about what it is you'd like to hear me talk about, but it's all on the concept of Are You Stuck? And this is all under my business of Winnie and Associates. My nickname is Winnie. It was given to me by one of my coworkers, Rhonda Watson, years and years ago, and it stuck with me. So when I started my business, I started as Winnie and Associates, and it's a business that, as I said the other day, it's to help you educationally, or we can look at the fun side of finding out who you are in other areas of life. Um, Life is every day we get up, even if we're not going outside our doors, we're still in the middle of trying to figure out who we are and how we feel about stuff. And I want to ask you a question. How are you feeling about being contained in your houses? How are you feeling about that? For some people, they have a lot of trouble because they're very social. They have to. And I tell you, I'm a social person. I love it. I absolutely love it. But what this time has done for me, and I've been in the house now, I'm almost 2.5, close to 3 weeks. I'm okay with it. I find that I'm able to say, to myself, okay, I'm not obligated to go anywhere. I've not committed to go anywhere. I really am okay with just writing, sitting and writing, because I am trying to finish up a few books. But I'm trying to rediscover the person that I am. And not just the person that you all may see. Sometimes I'm in here by myself and I'm just singing to the top of my lungs. I'm singing a song, or I may put on something and start dancing, and it's how to make myself happy so that this period doesn't become a period of depression. As I said, as a counselor, I know that certainly depression can set in, especially if we live by people, for people. And so this is very difficult on some people, especially if they don't have much family. And for those of you who may know, there's just my daughter and I here in the area. But I just have some wonderful friends. They check on me. They offer any kind of assistance that I may need, and thank God I haven't needed any. But I love the fact to know that there are people out there that certainly would rally to the occasion. The exciting thing about being alone too is that you can get in touch with your true inner feelings, but you can also, if you have a spiritual lift, you can also do that. I went to church yesterday online, and my pastor, Dr. Lonnie D. Wesley III, did a wonderful job. So sometimes we just have to acknowledge the fact that things may change, but they may change for a good reason if you make it a good reason. The good reason could be that you come out of this on the other side of the quarantine as being more confident, more self-reliant, more capable, more willing to try things and take a risk, more excited, uh, just all those things that say the I versus the them, or the her or the him. It really gets back to, who am I? How can I move forward? What else is available to me as I live this life of quietness? And maybe some homes aren't quiet. Maybe there's a lot of children around, or there's other needs that were already going on long before the quarantine began. But the concept is that you really look at life going forward. It's life in what you're currently doing now, which is in your homes, or it's planning to once you get out. Because I believe that God certainly will bless whatever way you decide you want to go. And I want you to know too, this isn't all about religion, but I will tell you that I was, raised in a religious family, so I do believe. But I also believe in the human factor of understanding that we have choices to make, and we can make good choices or bad choices. And the choices that we make certainly will give us an opportunity to go forward of loving ourselves more. And I believe if you love yourself, then you have room to love others too. I'm not saying that you get totally consumed with you. I'm not asking you to be narcissistic. I'm not asking you to be so enveloped in yourself that you do not have room, any space to let other people know you, get to see you, be close to you. Those things are, to me, are important, because that is a part of life. None of us were down here. We came alone. Certainly we did, unless we ended up with a twin, or more than that. But for the most part, we will live our lives needing people around and wanting people for the most part. Some people don't. They live their lives isolated. That's how they live. But I'm not one like that, and I certainly hope that and pray that once this is over, that I will, even have more friends, more opportunity to get to know other people, but still remembering that it's important that I know who I am, and that's my today's lesson. Just under launching opportunities in transition, and launching opportunity just says that how can I go forward? How can I figure out who I am, where I'm going, and it doesn't matter. I think this you can have this transition at any point in your life and at any age. Um, as we get older, certainly we may think that we have less opportunity. But I find that since I retired, I have this bucket list of things that I want to do. And I don't say before I leave here, necessarily. I just say before the next thing comes along that I also want to do. The thing is that you have to put yourself in a position of I want something more. I need something more, and it doesn't start or end with myself. But I need to know who I am for the person that I take out that other people may meet. So I want you to have a great day. I thank you for coming on in and joining me for a moment. I'm excited about this opportunity that I woke up to, a few days ago and said, okay, I'm gonna try it. I've never done Facebook Live except one other time prior to now. So I want you to have a great day and just know who you are. So I'm going to say this. I lived in Italy for 4 years. So I'm going to say ciao and have a great day. Bye bye.